All right. I'll start. Oh, let me get some music on. All right. Whoops.
Huevo cake.
What? There we go. Wait. There we go. Okay, I think go that way. Wait, what's wrong? Okay. What's this time? What the fuck is happening? Okay.
In today's video, the AJR Discord sings a parody of the song World's Most Violent. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like.
What is this video that came up my what came up my playlist? Okay. Okay. What the fuck is this? Oh, what the fuck?
In today's video, the AJR Discord sings a parody of the song World's Most Violent. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Mother left me at the age of 3. She was actually a treat from the IRS. I flee.
What the hell?
Don't pay my taxes. See, my dad left me for a goddamn plea. Forgot to clean up his last year's fee. I need a fucking therapist or just some coffee can't resist. Oh my god, that's so insane. Holy shit, my house is in flames.
What the hell? No.
I kinda wish I had my rubber band. Jesus Christ, where is my rubber band? Be careful, I am violent. The T in that is silent. I'm higher than the
Violin.
I tied my fucking smithereens. You deserve no goddamn sympathy. I put all of my piss in a bowl.
Short break from the chaos. Da 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 da.
My mom left me at the age of 3 and she turned right into a tree. Damn, I got a small pee-pee.
Whoa.
After me, all my friends are manscaping. They're so good at manscaping.
No, ain't no way it's the.
Is that really funny, bitch? Leave me alone. That's Post Malone. Next to him, I feel so damn alone. Oh damn, wait, he's really stoned. I wonder if he's got games on his phone. The world's smallest poop ever really needs some salt and pepper. So if I
The fuck?
my ass will be in smithereens, I'll get inside my submarine and get as high as the fucking moon.
Da 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 do. Da 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 da. Am I subscribed?
Somewhere in the Spider-Verse, somewhere I have got it worse. I struggle to make the next verse. Someone's ass must really hurt. The world's smallest pee-pee poo really needs some whipped cream, dude. So if I do not find it somewhere,
Why?
my bumhole burns. I'm full of beans. I wonder what the hell he means. Despite attempts, I'm never clean. My ass feels like it's make believe. The fuck is what I'm wondering. No matter what I can't achieve, I feel just like Lightning McQueen. Go holy.
No.
This channel seems like hell to me. My eyes don't need a ton of bleach. Oh my god, so many meat. Bartender, please sex on the beach. So many shit posts in this channel. Fuck, my voice cracked.
No, you're not gonna shit post. Anyways. Bro, what is happening? Why can't I, like, play playlists anymore? Just keep skipping all the songs. Anyways. No. Okay, found it. Alright, paper trade license plate. We can do that. 2042 Golf Papa Juliet. I think I remember what we have to do for this one. Yeah, I think that's it. There we go. Wait. There we go. There we go. I just saw I'm a hot single in your area. Okay. Bro. Okay, got November 5 3 India Oscar Golf. Oh, this one's hard. I'm bringing this over to my main screen. Oh God. I give up. Okay, what should I do? Okay. Okay. Oh my God, the lag. Oh God, my frames. Ah, god damn it. I give up trying to game. Give me a second.
These are pop.
Alright.
Something bad.
Alright, just to fit the look and fit the piece, I'm getting some beer. Alright, we are good. We are back.
About every U.S. state in no particular order. Hawaii is our most recent state added to the Big 50 in 1959. The U.S. government had their eyeballs all over the little group of islands as a strategic military outpost in the 1800s.
Yep.
Not to mention the sugarcane plantations. Freedom forbid any smelly European or Asian countries get their grubby paws on it. So with that in mind, as well as wanting to circumvent any potential sugar tariffs, a couple of U.S. businessmen with a couple of U.S. Marines pointed a couple of their U.S. guns at Hawaiian King Kalakaua in 1887,
Yep,
forcing
we just learned
him to
about that.
sign over power to the United States. But after the king kamei'd his last hame, his sister, Queen Liliuokalani, tried to regain power, but the US was all, ha! So one cuckoo kachu later, and the Republic of Hawaii was established in 1894, led by one Sanford Dole, whose cousin would go on to form the Hawaiian Pineapple Company, which would later become the Dole Food Company. If you've never had it, Dole Whip is freaking amazing. Highly recommend it. Ground
Bet.
zero for the 1918 influenza pandemic, the deadliest pandemic of the modern world, is widely believed to have been Camp Funston in Manhattan, Kansas. The camp itself was an army base training infantry
Wait, hold on. The place in Canada's called Manhattan? That was like New York.
in the closing months of World War I. Well, with failure to quarantine sick troops, the flu was definitely not just in Kansas anymore. Sickly soldiers were sent overseas where they oversneezed in Europe, spreading the flu worldwide. By the end of the pandemic around 1921, roughly 500 million people around the globe had been infected, with death toll estimates ranging from 50 to 100 million poor souls. July 16, 1945 saw the
Damn.
detonation of the world's first nuclear weapon at the Trinity Nuclear Testing Site in the Jornada del Muerto Desert in New Mexico. The successful detonation was the catalyst for the construction of the 2 atomic bombs that were dropped on Japan towards the end of World War
Yeah, like, basically we just dropped a nuclear bomb on Japan because we felt like it and because we were bored and we just wanted to show off. It's like, we're bored. Why don't you think, I'm like, the US be like, I'm just fucking bored. Oh, I know what the best thing to do is, let's just drop 2 nuclear bombs on Japan because why the fuck not?
War II. It's just a shame that thousands of New Mexico locals were never warned about the testing because they caught some heavy radiation dosages. Between the years of 1948 and 1975, the Aberdeen Proving Ground facility in Aberdeen, Maryland, hosted a wealth of unethical human experiments on U.S. Army soldiers. About 7,000 soldiers were experimented on, all without informed consent, meaning that they had no idea what they were getting into. The men were
Damn.
exposed to over 250 different chemicals.
Mustard gas.
weapons, including mustard gas, deadly nerve agents, and psychoactive substances for the sake of researching effects, preventative measures, and medical treatments. Despite the
The fuck?
lethality of some of these substances, dosages were low enough where no deaths were reported. These are getting dark really quick.
You said reported. That doesn't mean they're covering up deaths, eh?
So here's a silly one. The Aroostook War of 1838 was a bloodless armed standoff between American and British Canadian lumberjacks. While they slept all night and worked all day, there was a disagreement about where the US-Canadian border actually was. So both sides, eager to chop into the Aroostook River Valley's supple, sappy trees, got into a bit of a kerfuffle. Troops were deployed, but no shots
Oh, why do you give him a tray? Why do you give him a code?
of a kerfuffle. Troops were deployed, but no shots were fired and no lives were lost. Instead, everyone skipped and jumped home to cut down trees on their respective sides. The 1974 super outbreak was one of the most intense tornado outbreaks in recorded history, with 147
Why does that look like a state with no brain cells? I'm just saying.
separate tornadoes formed in a 25-hour period across 13 states, with Indiana being hit the hardest. 47 fatalities, 1,000 injuries, and hundreds of millions of dollars in damages were reported. That blows.
Ass money.
Just slightly west of Virginia is West Virginia, home to the worst mining disaster in the history of the United States, so far. On December 6, 1907, the Fairmont Coal Company's number 6 and number 8 mine shafts in the town of Monongah went kablooey.
That's Minecraft.
Two separate methane explosions instantly killed hundreds of workers in the mines and trapped any of those fortunate enough to survive. But their luck quickly ran out. The combined blast collapsed.
Wait. You're right.
Most of the existing cave structure and the ventilation shaft, blocking off fresh air and building up toxic gases which suffocated the trapped miners. The lack of any safety standards or
Miners?
respiratory safety
I'm sorry.
equipment made rescue attempts hopeless. Only 5 men managed to be saved, with 362 lives lost. The tragedy sparked public outcry for stricter safety standards, and in 1910, the US government established the Bureau of Mines with the goal of reducing mining accidents, though it had been a few decades before any safety standards would be enforced. Bet you don't yearn for the mines anymore, do you? In
I do.
1879, members of the Osage Native tribe struck oil on their reservation. The US government did what it does and quickly swooped in to establish oil production and paid out royalties to the members of the Osage tribe, catapulting them to astronomical levels of wealth. And that's when the mysterious deaths started. You see, Congress, not believing that the natives were capable of managing their wealth by themselves, appointed American businessmen and lawyers to look after their finances as legal guardians. Well, throughout the 1920s, some of these guardians began the systematic murder of 60 Osage natives in order to inherit their wealth. Formal investigations were launched, becoming one of the first major investigations conducted by the FBI. If you want to read more about this, I highly recommend the book Killers of the Flower Moon. There was also a film adaptation done recently, but it apparently wasn't as good. Louisiana. In the early 1900s, there was a plethora of invasive water hyacinths just gunking up the local rivers, not to mention a pervasive meat shortage. So in order to feed 2 birds with 1 stone, the American Hippo Bill was proposed to Congress. The bill would import African hippos to munch on the plants, only for said hippos to be subsequently munched on by Americans. Other animals were on the list, including Manchurian pigs, African buffalo, Tibetan yaks, rhinos, and of course, dicks. Sadly, the bill never passed, thwarting American plans to deep throat delicious and nutritious dick meat. A series of massive earthquakes completely rocked
Where?
dicks. Sadly,
Okay, send the dick.
the bill never passed, thwarting American plans to deep throat
But send the deep though.
delicious and nutritious dick meat. A series of massive earthquakes completely rocked southeast Missouri in 1811. One 8.0 magnitude earthquake was so severe that it caused sections of the Mississippi River to flow backwards and several parts of the surrounding landscape to go all bleh. Some
Rip.
people died, probably. On April 12, 1861,
Please tell me we're gonna
those
involve
gosh
9/11.
dang Confederates bombarded Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina for 34 hours straight and 0 hours gay, marking the start of the United States Civil
What?
War, which those those gosh dang Confederates bombarded Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina for 34 hours straight and 0 hours gay,
Is that, huh?
marking the start of the United States Civil War, which would go on to claim the lives of nearly 700,000 people. The worst massacre in U.S. history involving a school dates all the way back to 1927 in the small town of Bath, Michigan. Local disgruntled douche Andrew Kehoe used dynamite to destroy the Bath Consolidated School, an expensive upgrade to the local school district. The construction and maintenance of the school caused local property taxes to shoot up to account for operating costs.
God damn.
Kehoe, who was already on edge from his failing farming and political careers, as well as a terminally ill wife, had hit a breaking point with the steeper tax burden. Over the course of several months, Kehoe had managed to purchase multiple crates of dynamite, something typically used in farming at the time for stump and boulder removal, and hid them throughout the school. On the morning of May 18th, 1927, the dynamite was detonated, killing 38 in the process and injuring dozens more.
Don't do
While
this.
the chaos ensued, Kehoe had murdered his wife, destroyed his own farm, and drove to the school with his truck packed with more dynamite. He parked his car in front of the school and detonated the truck, taking himself and a few bystanders out with him. Luckily, though, a second hoard of dynamite within the school failed to detonate, preventing further loss of life. This single tragedy had claimed a quarter of the town's children.
God damn.
California, the United States' sweaty ass crack, boasts the largest economy in the country, which is perfect, because that's what they need to constantly fund relief efforts for the thousands of wildfires each year burning millions of acres. In 2020 alone, California saw over 9,600 wildfires with almost 4.4 million acres reduced to char. Do better. Get
96
wetter. Extremely heavy and frequent
Wow.
rainfall in 1926 through 1927 culminated in the Great Mississippi River flood of 1927. The big ol' river traveled across the land, flooding far and wide through several states including Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, and of course, Mississippi. Around 500 souls were washed away and several hundred thousands of people were displaced from their homes, resulting in upwards of $10 billion in damages.
Yikes.
The U.S. Dakota War of 1862 in Minnesota resulted in the largest public execution in United States history. The
Did you
people of
see-
the Dakota Native American tribe were pretty darn pissed as incoming settlers sought to manifest their destiny
This is
across the
mine now.
Midwest.
Hippity hoppity, this is now my property.
After constant displacement and being on the brink of starvation due to poor farming and hunting conditions, the Dakota had just about enough. A small group of Dakota men had attacked and killed 5 settlers, including a man, his wife, and their teenage daughter. This escalated into a small uprising,
Minecraft.
which was stomped out by the U.S. Volunteer Army over the course of about a month and a half. Over 350 U.S. civilians were massacred, with 150 Dakota natives killed in the clash. After all was said and done, 400 Dakota men faced trial, with 303 sentenced to death, though President Lincoln did reduce this down to just 38 men sentenced for execution. These men received their short drop and a sudden stop in front of a public crowd on December 26, 1862. Since 2007, over 20 detached and decayed human feet have been washed ashore along the coast of the Salish Sea in northeastern Washington. The feet have been found in various shoes, supposedly protected from additional predation from scavengers. Several of the feet
What the
have
fuck?
been identified as remains of missing people or those suspected of ending their own life within the
What?
area. Pretty sad, but hey, free shoes. In perhaps the worst lapse of judgment in the history of
Edison.
mankind, the city of Cleveland, Ohio organized Balloon Fest in 1986. The goal of the event was to break a world record of most balloons
I think I finally fixed the problem with my laptop. I think it was the VPN that kept making me drop frames. We have not dropped a single frame. We've been going for like just over half an hour.
released simultaneously, but I guess no one realized that balloons don't rise in perpetuity. Shortly after the release of over 1.5 million inflatables, a storm system promptly blew the elastic spheres back to Earth, blanketing the city and polluting Lake Erie. Airplanes were grounded, fishermen went missing, waterways became clogged, and many lawsuits were issued.
How
All
you
in
doing,
all,
Tim Tim?
the cleanup cost the city of Cleveland over $5 million. The people of Oregon really hate it when you pronounce it as Oregon.
I will strangle you.
So I've experienced.
As Oregon. When you pronounce when you pronounce Oregon that way, that makes me want to be Oregon. I'm sorry, that was bad.
But anyway, a few months after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, a single Japanese pilot flew a secret mission to bomb the forests of Oregon in an attempt to divert war supplies. Incendiary bombs were dropped in the forests of Brookings, but in terms of damage, they didn't do jack shit.
Thanks.
After the war, the Japanese pilot, Nobuo Fujita, was invited
Okay,
back to
bro.
Brookings as a guest of honor in order to make amends, which he hesitantly accepted. As a formal apology for his actions, Fujita presented the city his family heirloom katana, one passed down across 400 years, which is still on
400
display
years
in
is
the
wild.
Chetco Public Library
shit.
to this day. Timothy Treadwell was a huge fan of wild grizzly bears. Keyword being was. He spent about 13
Ain't no way,
summers
bro.
living amongst
What
them
the
in
fuck?
Alaska. Returning one final time towards the end of autumn, the bears then became a huge fan of Timothy. One giant grizzly had attacked Timothy and his girlfriend, mauling and eating the couple. The bear was later
Damn.
shot and killed with an autopsy confirming human remains in its stomach. Fellas, don't befriend giant wild animals. I don't care how cute their ears are. They're wild animals. They will murder you. North
Nom nom nom.
Carolina almost became No Carolina in 1961 after a
What?
B-52 bomber carrying a payload of 2 nuclear bombs headed towards the Canadian Arctic experienced a catastrophic failure and broke up mid-air shortly after takeoff. The
Oh,
destroyed
no.
aircraft
Wow.
unintentionally dropped the bombs back down to Earth, with one falling from the plane as if properly deployed, initiating a sequence of safety switches for detonation. However, one final safety switch failed to actuate, saving North Carolina and a few surrounding states from becoming nothing more than a big black smudge on the globe. The other bomb slammed into the earth, but very luckily remained intact and relatively undamaged. Both bombs were rated as very luckily remained intact and relatively undamaged.
It was destroyed.
Both bombs were rated as 3.8 megaton bombs, about 250 times more powerful than those dropped on Japan at the
Can we do it again? Because I'm bored.
end of World War II. So yeah, the US almost accidentally nuked itself into oblivion. During the events of World War II, tens of thousands of Japanese Americans were relocated to several internment camps across the country out of fear of domestic attacks. One such camp was the Hart Mountain Camp in Park County, Wyoming, which housed 14,000 Japanese Americans during its 3 years of operation between 1942 and 1945. The
Okay.
camp boasted many activities, a poorly supplied school for children, a hospital, and many sports and social clubs, but, you know, they were
Not terrorism, goddammit.
still forced to be there and
I
had
want to do
autonomy.
terrorism.
Way back before the
think
U.S. was
Putin
even
wants to do
established,
terrorism
the
as well.
English colony of Jamestown, Virginia was formed in 1607. Just a few years later, settlers experienced what is known as the starving time. The
Yep.
combined effects of the brutal winter of 1609
Why come peeps be starving, yo? Wicked winter, feeble food, devastating disease, not nice native neighbors.
food shortages, devastating disease, and constant Native American attacks really screwed over colonists who resorted to pure desperation for survival. The colonists ate dogs, rats, their own shoes,
Not
and
dogs.
each other in order to survive.
Don't eat her like that. Don't eat her like that.
300 settlers, rats, their own shoes, and each other in order to survive. 300
Why? Why?
settlers
What's with
saw
the
the beginning of
honking?
winter, but only 60 saw the beginning of spring. The state of Rhode Island saw around 1,000 slaving voyages between the 18th and 19th century, bringing in an estimated 100,000 slaves to the Americas. The year 1919 saw the occurrence of
Come on,
the
get to
Elaine
New York.
Massacre in Hoopsburg, Arkansas. About 100 African American sharecroppers demanded fairer pricing for their cotton crops as they were frequently underpaid for their labors. During a meeting, which was protected by armed guards, 2 white men rolled up to find out what all the hullabaloo was about. After a brief struggle, some shots were fired, though it's unknown who shot first. One of the men died, the other injured.
Pew pew.
Well, word got out about the event being a supposed uprising being planned by the black community. In response, several locals and hundreds of U.S. troops were deployed to put an end to the so-called rebellion, resulting in the cold-blooded murder of over 200 African Americans in the area. In 1903, residents of Van Meter, Iowa reported sightings of a strange bat-like humanoid figure for several nights. Dubbed the Van Meter Visitor, the bat-human-dinosaur hybrid monster thing possessed big old flappy wings, sharp claws, and an eerily glowing horn on its melon. Many credible witnesses attest to the sightings, and locals, in true American fashion, shot at the creature in an attempt to kill it. It supposedly escaped
Second
to a
Amendment
nearby
rights.
abandoned mine and was never seen again. In the early 1800s, Colonel William H. Jackson once gifted his favorite oak tree its own deed, legally entitling it to its own ownership and all land within an 8-foot radius of itself. The original tree, located in Athens, Georgia, fell in 1942, but not before an acorn sprouted a new sapling, which legally inherited the land. Why is this bad? That's because there's a chance that this tree owns more land than you do. The Bonneville Salt Flats in northwestern Utah look like something out of a dream sequence. Back in the 1920s, with the evolving technology of automobiles, adrenaline junkies would often challenge each other to travel across the flats as fast as possible. Of course, this inevitably led to numerous crashes, breakdowns, and deaths, a tradition that persists to this day. The Silk
Good.
Strike of 1913 in Paterson, New Jersey was the organized strike of over 25,000 silk workers with the goal of establishing an 8-hour workday and better working conditions. Over the course of the strike's 5-month duration, 300 silk mills
Guess I'll
had
do this
shut
myself
down with
then.
no workforce, and over 1,800 strikers were arrested for inciting violence. Ultimately, the strike
What?
won
Whoa. Silk my.
1,800 strikers were
Okay,
arrested for
bro.
inciting
Okay, that's
violence.
wild.
Ultimately,
That's
the strike was
wild. That's
defeated as
devious.
influence failed to spread beyond Paterson and no demands were ever met. Speaking of terrible working conditions, the Radium Girls of Ottawa, Illinois were tasked with hand-painting watches with self-luminous paint made from radioactive powdered radium. The women would often point their brushes with their lips to produce finer tips, but their lips inadvertently sipped the radioactive drips, and if one dared to skip the lip tip grip, their managers would flip, so tips remained dipped and their lips remained zipped. Company owners expressed the
Wow.
safety of the material, but actively avoided it themselves. The ingestion of the radium, unsurprisingly, caused multiple women to contract radiation poisoning. Between the years of 1917 and 1927, over 50 women had died from acute radiation syndrome. This sparked
Yikes.
public outrage and reforms in labor rights. Radium continued to be used in the production of watch dials up to the 1970s. Multiple residents outside of Exeter, New Hampshire, all reported seeing the same strange light pattern in the sky across several evenings in 1965. The large object reportedly moved silently across the night sky, emitting eerie red lights in a specific pattern. The event terrified locals in the area for years, though skeptics have debunked this event as simply a mid-air refueling drill performed by the United States Air Force. Specifically, KC-97 tankers flashed red lights in the same exact pattern that was described by eyewitnesses. The city of Wilmington, Delaware experienced a catastrophic outbreak of cholera and typhoid fever in the late 1800s thanks to rapid industrialization shitifying up the local water sources.
Yep.
With hundreds sick and dozens dying, the city had to drastically overhaul the local sewer
That's-
system, including installing a water purification plant. To drastically overhaul the local sewer system, including
Good.
installing a water purification plant in the early 1900s. But at least you can breathe a fresh sigh of relief nowadays. This is a
That's
devil's
what- that's
hole
what my
pupfish,
boyfriend
a
sounds like
critically
snoring.
endangered and supremely cute species of fish found only in the Devil's Hole in the Death Valley National Park in
The
Nevada,
Devil's Hole, that's
or
wild.
Nevada for the locals. The fish were first discovered back in the 1940s and were almost immediately attempted to be protected. In 1967, they were
That looks
officially
like-
listed as endangered.
These look like goobers.
Thanks
These
to
are
local
literally
drilling by
goobers.
development companies, which reduced water
Like
levels
Tintin.
within the cave system. Despite aggressive conservation efforts, there were only 38 of the little guys in existence as of spring 2025, making them one of the most critically endangered species on Earth. The Great Jacksonville Fire of 1901 completely reshaped the city of Jacksonville, Florida. After a rogue kitchen fire broke out, the flames quickly spread to a nearby mattress factory. After more than 8 hours, the
Yikes.
inferno finally came under control after completely engulfing the majority of the city, destroying almost 2,400 buildings in the process, rendering 10,000 people homeless and 7 people dead. Now that's what I call a fire sale. Farmers in the late 1960s and early 1970s were pretty pissed to find their precious moo cows slaughtered and mutilated beyond natural means. Investigations clocked in over 8,000 separate mutilations over the years. Some of the bulbous bovines were found to have sedatives in their systems, while others were secretly marked with fluorescent paint. Unidentified aircraft in the
Bruh.
area were spotted, suggesting government interventions or possible secret weapons testing, but no conclusive evidence was ever found. 19th century Philadelphia, Pennsylvania saw the rise of several teeth thieves who would go around robbing graves of entire bodies. The corpses would be sold to nearby medical schools for anatomical study, while the teeth were extracted and sold to companies who made dentures. Remember to smile. Kentucky is home to the McCoy
Oh,
family,
no.
one half of the infamous Hatfield-McCoy family feud. Initial squabbles began in the 1870s over the Civil War, with the Hatfields being Confederate sympathizers and the McCoys being pro-Union. Across 30 years, multiple lawsuits, thefts, and even murders escalated the feud, with over a dozen family members killed. The feud finally came to an end in the late 1890s. Or did it? About 100 years after the start of it all, descendants of the families came together to duke it out on the game show Family Feud in 1979, with the McCoys coming out on top. Nowadays, the family homes are tourist attractions, holding annual festivals with activities like tug-of-war and sight tours to commemorate the decades-long dispute. Just north of South Dakota is North Dakota, and boy did it suffer a harsh winter in 1936. Record low temperatures plummeted all the way down to negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
negative 51°C for you foreigners. The frigid forecast
Oh, it
froze
is
farm
wild.
fauna fleeing for favorable feverishness. Entire towns burned through their coal supplies, leaving families to die in their homes from exposure. In 1847, nearly 200 Dutch immigrants made their way over from the Netherlands to Wisconsin in search of a better life,
Okay,
but a
didn't know
similar
shit could do
cold
that.
climate. After months of crossing the Atlantic and scooting in through to the Great Lakes, the freaky deaky Dutch were just about to set foot in Sheboygan, Wisconsin,
Dutch.
when a poorly maintained boiler overheated, causing a fire to erupt on board the very wooden ship. Unfortunately, the ship only had 2 lifeboats, capable of holding about 20 people each. Of the few hundred people aboard, only 45 managed to escape on the lifeboats. The Phoenix, ironically, went down in a blaze, never to rise from the ashes, because they were washed away. Mysterious deaths surrounding the Ray family had caused concern for the townsfolk of Jewett City, Connecticut. The supposedly healthy family members were stricken down left and right from an undetectable killer. The boys of the family became paler by the day and were seen coughing up blood until ultimately passing away within the coming days. The reasonable cause of death, the townsfolk thought, was vampires. In order to stop the undead from rising and killing others, the recently deceased were exhumed from their graves and burned. The real culprit? Tuberculosis. Conveniently enough, though, the burning of the corpses probably did prevent the contagious disease from spreading any further. Go figure. In 1855, the U.S. government
back to New
approved the
York.
import of several camels to serve as pack animals through the arid landscape of the Southwest, formally establishing the United States Camel Corps. But then the Civil War broke out a few years later in 1861, and the camels were either sold off or completely abandoned in the desert, supposedly being spotted
Yep.
over the next several decades. Roam free, fellas. Boston, Massachusetts is home to the deadliest nightclub fire in U.S. history. The Coconut Grove fire burned itself into people's memories in 1942 with a wealth of poor safety choices leading to the brutal blaze. Exit doors were chained up to prevent unauthorized access, air conditioners were filled with flammable refrigerants,
Wait,
and everyone was packed in like
Chained exit doors, malfunction front revolving door, flammable refrigerants, and AC. 1,000 plus people in a 460 capacity space. Everything is flammable. Everyone fucking smokes.
sardines. Not to mention the fact that all of the lavish interior decor could catch fire faster than a witch in Salem. In all, 492 people ended up dying in the inferno. The club owner, Barney Walensky, who was very much aware of his club's safety code violations, was convicted on just 19 counts of manslaughter and was sentenced to just 15 years in prison, though he was pardoned after just 4. He ended up dying a few weeks after release from cancer. Now, when you're chilling in
Rip.
class, the last thing you want to experience is a big old gas explosion. But unfortunately, the students in the New London School in New London, Texas, were about to do just that.
New London,
All
what
right,
the fuck?
class, who could tell me what happens when you hook a big chunk of magnesium into some water? Yep, Ron. That's an easy one. It just, after recently canceling their natural
Big
gas
ass
supply
ass.
contract to save a few buckaroos, the school board decided to instead tap into a local gasoline waste line to supplement the demand. The shitty and shoddy plumbing work caused natural gas leaks throughout the school's basement crawl spaces. Now keep in mind that natural gas is colorless and odorless, so no one was really aware of any leaks, except for the students who complained of headaches, though they were ignored by the staff.
You get out of here. Go on, get.
The creeping gas cloud was
Damn.
inadvertently ignited on March 18, 1937, causing an instantaneous explosion that killed 295 out of roughly 500 students and staff present in the building. The disaster led to a reform of requiring odorous additives to be added to natural gas supplies for better detection of leaks. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air, New York City is probably not the best place to do so, especially in 1966.
No,
the Great
they're
New
not
York
gonna
City
say it.
smog blanketed the Big Apple in a giant fart cloud of carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and smoke. The dense haze persisted for 3 days across the 1966 Thanksgiving weekend. A public health study estimated that about 10% of the city's population suffered some adverse health effects from sucking in the smelly smog. In the end, 168 New
Smogged
Yorkers
out,
ended up
logged
biting the
out.
dust, prompting President Lyndon B. Johnson and several members of Congress to produce the 1967 Air Quality Act and amendments to the 1970 Clean Air Act, which heavily reduced air pollution down to more manageable levels of toxicity. In the wake of the U.S. Civil War, the South was really hurting for some cheap labor as all of their slaves were just freed thanks to the 13th Amendment. The best alternative? Prisoners. Convicts were extremely cheap compared to full-time employees, so in the early 1890s, Coal Creek mine owners decided to lay off their workforce and instead conscripted convicted criminals to work the mines for pennies on the dollar. But instead of milling around, the recently sacked and salty miners decided to pick a fight, sparking the Coal Creek War of 1891. The manic miners attacked a load of state prisons and mining properties, ensuring their efforts would not be in vain. The National Guard was called in, arresting over 500 workers. The scuffle did result in
Damn.
Tennessee ending their convict leasing program in 1896, so that's a win. Sweet Home, Alabama is home to Yellow Mama, an electric chair built in 1927 by master carpenter and inmate Ed Mason. 152 criminals have gotten the sweet, stinging embrace of Yellow Mama's arms, with her final zap being performed in 2002. Since then, death row inmates were given the legal right to choose their demise, either lethal injection or the chair, and to no surprise, they opt for the less painful option. As such, Yellow Mama remains locked away in the attic of the Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore, Alabama, patiently waiting for her next victim. Imagine your life as a
Yikes.
beaver, munching away on a tree or building a dam, when all of a sudden you get yoinked away from your beaver family,
Yoink.
put in a tiny box, flown up to the sky, and hucked out of an airplane to be parachuted down miles away from home. That's exactly what the Idaho Department of Fish and Game did in 1948 after locals complained of excessive property damage. 76 beavers were relocated from northwest Idaho to central Idaho via airdrop using leftover World War II parachutes. One beaver died. Very sad. A big-ass swarm of locusts tore across the Midwest in 1874, devastating any and all vegetation, food, clothes, and farming equipment for days on end, with Nebraska taking most of the damage. Water sources were contaminated and livestock were consumed. High
God
estimates
damn.
place the swarm size at upwards of 12.5 trillion locusts. I mean, there were quite literally a blanket of locusts a foot high off the ground. The swarm, spanning across 2 million square miles, reportedly blocked out the sun for multiple hours during their flight. By the time the locust plague had passed, the Midwest
my
had
God.
sustained over $200 million in crop damages. Bennington Triangle, located across southwestern Vermont, saw several people disappear under mysterious circumstances between 1945 and 1950. The most well-known case being the disappearance of 18-year-old student Paula Jean Weldon, who up and vanished in 1946 and was never seen again. The young girl had reportedly left her college campus in the afternoon and proceeded to walk 6 miles to a nearby trail before going missing. Lack of substantial police investigation, evidence, or witnesses left the case cold. The poorly run investigation had prompted the Vermont legislature to create the Vermont State Police just 7 months after Paula Jean's disappearance. Hundreds of Lakota Sioux natives were gunned down during the Wounded Knee Massacre of 1890 after natives began expressing frustration and anger over continued forced relocation and broken promises from the US government.
You suck.
A new religious movement called the Ghost Dance, a literal dance performed in hopes of ridding the land of white settlers, was seen as a potential act of rebellion.
That's scary. I don't like that.
As a precaution, natives were rounded up and disarmed by the US Army. A misunderstanding surrounding an accidental misfire of a rifle started the massacre, which saw the murder of about 300 native men, women, and children. Montana is home to one of the most famous archaeological hoaxes of all time. The Cardiff Giant, a quote-unquote petrified man supposedly recovered from a well in 1869 by 2 local workers. The giant hardened human stood at over 10 feet tall and weighed about 3,000 pounds. The giant acted as an attraction to which thousands of tourists flocked for 50 cents a pop, roughly $12 in today's money accounting for inflation. Visitors stood in complete awe at the supposed relic of human history as proof of how giants once roamed the earth. But in reality, the stone statue was just that, a statue. It was created by one George Hull in an attempt to show how easily the public could be fooled by fake artifacts. He constructed the statue and buried it in the aforementioned well, where, a year later, he instructed his unaware workers to dig it up as a genuine artifact.
Well. Shut up. Okay.
After just 2 months of worldwide spectacle, Hull proudly confessed to the hoax as one big gotcha moment, calling everyone a bunch of stupid idiots. Well, there you go. That's something historically bad about every US state. If you want to hear some weird stuff about every country in the world, click this. I'll see you over there.
A few years ago.
No.
It's 2011.
Well, conductor isn't even stage yet. My bad. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 3. No! Check out this quote I made. What note is that? Wait, what did I say? Let me in on the high part. I don't know what I'm playing. I forgot my music binder. They were both too busy staring at someone in the audience to remember the entrance. Silence. More times. Transposing error. Clarinet is short-circuited. And check this out. My string snaps. Skill issue. So anyway, short Bryson. Loudest. Wait. Like 50 French horns, euphonium, bass trombone, ultra bass trombone, loud tuba, louder tuba, loudest tuba, louding tuba. If I didn't get scared and run away. Mine's came back twice as of it. Kinda. Come as if 2 bars away. They started taking still you out of time. You know what this sounds like? No! Wonder how loud I can play. Too much. My trumpet is not impressive. Bass drum forgets what quiet. I mean, this is so fucking true. Pedal tone. What is part 3 in the morning? I don't remember any of it. Pedal tone. I thought we hold out on the last note. Did we cut that out a month ago? Oh great, it's slow part. Time for a nap. Check to see how much time left in the video. You want the melody shut up. Man, this violin part looks like a mess and it didn't even change anything. Shut up. Part of Star I don't think anyone's even watching anymore. I can say whatever I want, nobody will know. Can't believe you would say that for real, for real. Don't want anyone to hear my controversial opinions. Wait, hold on. I want to look at these. Bro, if anyone wants to analyze that, have at it. As long as I can find. This may or may not be based on myself. Past the screech. Sight reading during the concert. I've done this a few times and I don't even have ADHD. I'm gonna show off, my reaction to the information. It's always sunny in the brass section. Okay, anyways, nice wind strings. It's always either the trumpets or flutes. Imperial Dance hooks up trumpet to a guitar amp. Dang, bro, you just sit directly in front of the drum, so I may be biased. Low, high, or something else. I woke up and all these were on the score. You just lost the game. Go get a drink and something. And this part is boring. Dang, how long is this video? At least the too loud and not the usual too quiet. That is true. I condensed like 3 violin parts into one, so this may be my fault. Overconfidence. If you're struggling that drink, don't worry, there's still time. Can't believe you would say that for. Don't want anyone hearing my controversial opinions, you know. Well, you can come back from your drink now. I'm sure you know someone like this. You retardando. Okay, that's too far. If it's in your right ear, your headphones are backwards. We're only halfway. Go get some popcorn this time. A woodwind player walks to the percussion room. Give me that glizzy. Retardando. It over yet? We're only halfway. That's slow part. Another slow part. Wait, hold on. What are the rest of them? I spared you all by putting it in mezzo piano. Just know that the echo goes crazy. I spent like 30 minutes transcribing this baby. Pause. Do this with a cymbal once. I mean, it's pretty accurate to the percussionist. You're powering off. You could have just shook them awake. You'll tell me you haven't done this. Slides share obnoxiously. I asked for audience sharing sound effect. Oh my god, a saxophone. This has actually happened to someone I know before. The golden time ratio. I crashed music score several times trying to get this to work. I made enough fun to spit vows. It's free time. Music score trumpet explosion hold. Unleash hell. Song is over. You can click off now. This ending isn't important, and you can leave. Seriously, it gets worse from here. Okay, you asked for a video end. Guys, look! I found a tambourine. Dude, this is a live performance. Timpani, oh, you guys are glistening over here? Let me in on that. Give me that glizzy. Do you know you can glisten on Timpani? I certainly didn't. Oh, are we in a different section now? I couldn't hear anything. I just realized what that meant. Nobody laughed at the festival. Is the tempo dragging? dragging these nuts all over your face. Got him. Hold on, give me a second. I'm sorry. Also, I just got an email. Give me a second. I'll still be here. Let me check my email. My boyfriend just emailed me back. Okay, we're back. I'm sorry. Percussion draws triangle. We back? Hey, hi love, how you doing? I'm awake, shut up. I'm barely awake right now. Starts playing with the instrument like that's the problem with like I'm gonna do what's called a pro game move. Oh no, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm quitting band.
Become a percussionist, like a true G. I missed the balloon, do that again. New time things to deal with it. Damn. Hold on, we have a brass. Give me a second. Tone is out the window. It's brass time. Pause for effect. I'm on double tugging. What song is over? How long can I extend this video for? Make the applause more attempts. I found that you can put text in big circles. This is the coolest thing ever. Baby crying again. Add some gunshots in there because what? Oh no. Pipe falling. Battle, please take me back. I can't stop crying. Rude Battle. Okay, I'm done. Nile Red, what the fuck do you do now?
A few years ago, when I was in Japan, I discovered this version of Monster called Monster Cubed, which is basically just a regular can of
Cass?
Monster, but it's been concentrated to 1/3 of its volume. I then tried it, and I really liked how strong it was, and I couldn't help but appreciate the efficiency of getting all of the caffeine and flavor without having to drink a bunch of extra water. It also got me wondering...
I don't know. Something goes... There it is. Monster Cubed.
Though, why there aren't
Yeah, should
other
try and drink it.
concentrated forms of energy drinks like Red Bull, which I honestly prefer.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get another beer. I just woke you up fully. Ow. Okay. Also, give me a second. No, you didn't hear nothing. You didn't hear anything. Talk about it, Estonia.
And more importantly, I felt that it had to be possible
No, I
to do
didn't.
better than just cubed. In my mind, it had to be possible to go way higher, up to something like 100 times as concentrated, where just one sip is equal to one entire energy drink. And yeah, I felt that I don't know, I don't even have a
Nile.
reason. I just feel like I have to
I'm
know
not.
what that tastes like. So today, we've finally decided
Fuck
to get
it,
on
finally.
with that.
You,
And to
okay,
do this,
fine, I'll admit it.
we bought this giant machine from China. We also put together this amazing tower of 100 Red Bull cans. And our goal, or my belief, is that we'll be able to concentrate all of these cans down into just one can.
He looks so fucking happy.
And I
He
should
looks
mention that
crazy.
they're all sugar-free Red Bull, which is actually very important. And yeah, I'll explain why later on. But
He looks like he just. I think I know why they're all sugar free. Because he took all the sugar out of them. He's he is high on sugar. I love you too. Niall is fucking high on sugar.
for now, to get started, the first step is to transfer all of them into a bucket. Okay. One. Okay.
It's gonna take a while.
Oh man.
Wow. It was very exciting after the first one, but now that I'm seeing how slow it is, it's a lot less exciting. Yeah, this is gonna take forever. I'm gonna start accelerating this.
Dude. Let's
But
go.
but yeah, some potential. Forget if anything.
Oh man, my fingers are gonna be blistered from this. Hurts. Okay.
Whoa, pause. What the fuck do you mean by that?
Okay, we're so close. We literally have 6 cans left, but we're running into this problem that there are holes for the handles, and we are critically close. So
What if we tape it?
yeah, we're gonna have to seal these up. Okay, so we've done some amazing
Good job, you traumatized Tim.
work on the bucket to plug the holes, and we can just keep going.
I know 2 holes that only I can plug. I'm gonna stop.
Maybe in that time my fingers recovered. No, they still hurt.
This thing Niall does for the channel.
Last can.
There it is.
Finally done. All 100 cans are now in this container. And yeah, I mean, I know what our goal was, but it seems a lot more ambitious now. Because what we are trying to do is to get all of this, which is should
Yeah.
be 25 liters, concentrated
25
into
liters of Red
just
Bull.
this.
It's insane.
Let's go.
So yeah, I guess we better get started with that. And our first step is to get a spoon
Oh no.
and
Don't
to
start.
start mixing.
We're actively traumatizing Tim Tim.
I'm just trying to get rid of as much of the fizz as
I
we
love it.
can, because we're gonna be loading it into the machine, and I don't think the machine likes carbonation, but I don't know.
So you're trying to get it flat right now.
Yeah, the goal is to get it flat, but I think this is gonna be brutal to do it this way. So I have a better idea.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no!
It's overflowing with creamy substance.
Ah. How did I not see that? There's just a river of Red Bull now.
Dude,
It worked too good.
Wait, catch that.
We don't have another container.
catch it with your hands.
Oh, oh, oh God.
My gosh.
What a
Ah.
rookie mistake.
Are we adding that table juice in there?
No. I'm just trying to figure out how much we lost so we can compensate. Oh, it's just look at the bits in there. It's just parts of the table.
Oh, yeah, that's dumb.
Okay, so
Oh my god.
I think we need to add double that back in if we're gonna make sure we're at the right can amount. And we actually have a few spares. So 1, 2, 3. Done. And I think what's nice is it looks like there's more than before, which is good, because I mean, at the very least, I want there to be more, not less. So I think we're more at like 101 cans now-ish. So that's good. More is better.
Back to the drill.
Go slow this time.
Yeah, we'll be a little bit more moderate. Is that it?
I think it's done.
Oh yeah.
That seems good.
Yeah, that's good. So I think all we need to do now is just do a little taste test to see how much fizz is in there. Yeah, that's flat. That's super flat. Okay, success. And I mean, we just gotta concentrate it. So, step 1, transfer it to this convenient little cart. Oh God, I don't want to spill it.
Oh, okay.
And now, turn it on.
We'll make the world's most powerful Red Bull. He's making probably.
And we have this incredibly complicated looking diagram.
What is this?
I think it looks complicated, but it's not actually that complicated. Regardless, I think step 1 is simple. We take this little
Wait. No, not.
and we just stick it.
And I'm reusable. That is true.
And yeah, the next step is to just open this door for this vent. drop the exhaust out into there.
Okay.
And the next question is just, how does any of this work? Oh yeah. So we have a bunch of stuff here. We have a temperature setting, fan, pump, and needle. And I think the best thing we can do is just go for it.
Yeah, I hope it
Already
does
set to
accept it.
150C. I think I'm just gonna turn the heating on. Okay, and then the fan is set to 100 hertz. I'll just turn that on. And then that's loud. That's actually so loud. And now the
I swear to God.
okay, and then we turn on the needle. And the last thing that we need to do is just turn on the pump. Okay, this little thing starts turning, and it should be sucking up our Red Bull. So, look, it's sucking the Red Bull.
It's talking me.
There you go.
What?
Okay, that's good.
There's a Red Bull.
Okay, it's in. So it should be getting there in a second, and it should start blasting Red Bull in.
There it is. I see it.
You saw a little spritz?
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
there. There it is. So what it's doing here is it's just blasting a mass of the Red Bull in, while also swirling it around with really hot air. And the idea is that it's just instantly drying. And
I won't make you
really not
redundant.
sure how this was gonna
I have
work
other
out,
plans for
but
you.
look,
Don't worry. I have other
it
plans
looks
for
like there
you.
is powder collecting in there.
It's already starting to collect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh my, yeah, you can see the powder at the bottom. So, I should also further explain, I didn't even really say that, this machine just removes all the water. And the idea is that by removing all the water, you're left with just the essential parts of the Red Bull, which in the case of a zero sugar drink is very little stuff. The problem with the stuff with sugar is that a huge percent of it's sugar, so you're just never going to be able to concentrate it.
Okay, so why don't we just put it in a food dehydrator or something?
I mean, yeah, we could have just put it into a giant food dehydrator, but this is supposed to be much better at preserving the flavor, and it's also supposed to be at least several times faster.
All right. Yeah, guess that makes sense. Do you think it's starting to turn brown a bit? Does that have something to do with the heat?
Don't worry. I don't have any food for that either.
Like if it's too hot, will it start to cook it or something?
Also, I have about 5 minutes left before I have to go for the night.
Yeah, I think the heat could affect it, but it also could just be that when we saw very small amounts, it was white, but when you get more, you start to see the off color of it. Because I doubt it would be a perfectly, there's dyes in it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's literally brown, so the powder should be brown. I just don't like that it's sticking a bit up there.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's going there means there's enough loose powder. I just think we're not actually generating that much. Like, I put it at 20, but I think that's 20 milliliters a minute. That's not very much.
That's gonna take a long time to go through that bucket.
That's a liter an hour. So it might be looking to like 30 hours to do this. So we just have to leave it here, and we'll just keep occasionally checking on it, I guess, to make sure that it's not exploding.
Several hours later.
Okay, so we're making some progress. We started up at around here. We got here. We've probably gotten through like 20 cans so far, I think. That's not bad. And if you look in here, that's good. We're actually collecting something. The problem is that I I just don't think it's possible to avoid getting a lot of it stuck in this section. We've tried to minimize it by changing a bunch of these settings here, lowering the overall heating temperature, and
No,
slowing
because
down
I'm
how much
after
is
I'm
pumped
done with
in
stream,
per minute.
I'm gonna be taking
And
a shower and then going back,
seems
then going to bed.
sort of helps. We actually are getting a decent amount in here, but I think overall this process is just a bit doomed to be kind of messy. Here it is. The last of the Red Bull. Just gotta make sure the tube is fully in there. Okay. And officially all in the hose. It's through.
I'll try and stream again tomorrow
Drops.
when I get back from martial arts.
It's done.
No, wait, it's Wednesday. After I'm done with my math tutor
Okay,
session.
first of all, shut up. Okay. Second of all, turn all this off, turn the heating off, and we're finally done. But I don't know how to feel because I don't really like that. I don't like how orange and covered with gunk it is. I also don't
Sorry.
like how dark this part is. It looks cool. Don't get me wrong, it looks really cool, but I don't really like that. Also, one thing I don't like is this. This whole section here is kind of dark, but that's the exit pipe. And there's also,
That's right, eh?
yeah, and there's also
What
a
you-
little
oh,
bit of
what
powder
was it?
around
What was
what's
it?
supposed to be a seal there,
Spill it out.
which I also don't like.
I'm gonna
It
spill- make
definitely
you spill
means
out.
that- It definitely means there was some loss. So, what I do like though is this. It really does look like we have a crap ton of powder down there, and that's good. There is some, in some way, shape, or form, powdered Red Bull in here, and I'm pretty excited to see what's in there. So, fan off.
That's where we're gonna end it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Trying to stream again tomorrow, like around 5:36, maybe 7 at latest. Peace out. Have a good day and night.